We have an author on Eve O. Schaub, and she wrote the book A Year of No Sugar. Hey, Eve, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Awesome. Welcome to the show. Now, our Sear here is been on a diet, and we thought it'd be cool to bring people on such as yourself that kind of talks about just eating healthier and choosing a healthier lifestyle. How'd you decide on not eating sugar for a year?
Oh, well, I watched a video where a doctor was making the argument that sugar acts in our body as a toxin, as a poison. And he correlated, having too much sugar in our everyday American diet with every major American health epidemic. You know, everything from obesity and diabetes, metabolic syndrome, heart disease, hypertension, liver disease, and even cancer. So
why is that?
Well, because it acts in our body as a toxin, and for every person, it's going to have a slightly different, reaction. But it's all of those things are kind of catastrophic. The body doesn't have any need for fructose, so you're goes straight to your liver, as opposed to other things that we eat, where it's providing our cells with energy and helping us get through our day. Fructose we don't need, and that's what added sugar is.
What about corn syrup? Is that in the same? Thing?
Yeah. I tell people there's no such thing as a good sugar. High fructose corn syrup is bad, but regular cane sugar's bad too. They're all bad. Fruit juice is bad because it's all extracted sugar, and we're getting too much of it.
Right.
Even so, sugar-free fruit juice is bad as well.
Yeah, I hate to tell people that. I know everybody loves fruit juice and wants to think it's really healthy, but in fact, if you look at what it does chemically in your body, it's doing the same thing as a soda.
So what about a smoothie?
Oh, well, smoothie's better because you're getting some of the pulp, the more
fiber
of the fruit. The best thing would be to actually just eat the fruit, because then you're getting a really small amount of fructose with a lot of fiber and micronutrients that kind of balances it all out. It slows the absorption of that fructose in your body, and it's the way nature intended us to have that fructose,
And Splenda is bad for you too, right?
Yeah, during our year we stayed away from all the fake sugars as well. We thought, sugar's bad enough. Those things are even scarier sometimes, so...
Yeah.
So no NutraSweet, no Splenda, no nothing. All right. So what were you? So I imagine I grew up the son of some hippies, so we used to have to read the ingredients when you go to the grocery store to see what was in that shit. Were you surprised by the amount of sugar and corn syrup in all of the groceries that people buy?
Yeah, I mean, it crops up in the weirdest places when you really start to look. And I had thought I was health conscious before we did this project, but then I realized that I really wasn't as aware as I thought I was, because we were being really strict and we read everything. So we found it. We found sugar in crackers. We found it in, gravies and broth, chicken broth, beef broth, baby food, formula, salad dressing, mayonnaise, cold cuts, because they put a glaze on there. So you name it, they'll try to put sugar in it.
What'd you end up eating then? Just like a bunch of rice and shit and fucking spinach, or what? What was you?
The good news is that if you look, you can usually find a version of whatever it is you want that doesn't have sugar, but you just have to know to look. So we could, I never did find a ketchup without sugar, but, I did find other things. I found, here's the one cracker I can buy. Here's the tomato sauce I can buy. Here's the one, broth. I'd buy a vegetable broth instead of chicken because that one didn't have sugar. Or, if I could, if I had time, I'd make it myself at home. I started baking bread. I made my own sauces. I made my own salad dressing, which is real easy. Just olive oil and lemon juice or vinegar or salt and pepper.
Let me ask you something. What was the result you saw? Did you guys lose any weight? Was your poops better? Like what was your end result?
I'm so glad you asked about the poop. Nobody asked me about that. No
one asked. How was your poop? Tell me about your poop.
I was going to tell you all about it. No, it's so funny because in the book I have a chapter called "Poop Doesn't Lie." And
the poop don't lie?
It doesn't lie, no. Yeah, and that was the thing. We pooped more. We pooped a lot more. And that's, an indicator that your body's working better. And so it was one of those things that I didn't really think about until it started to happen. And we were
How many
healthier.
BMs? How many ball movements were you having a day?
Every day, at least once. At least.
I poop every day. Like, aren't you supposed to poop every day? Who the fuck does it?
That's good. That's
Twice.
really good, because I think that's not true of everybody. That wasn't true
Really?
of us. No.
You weren't pooping every day?
No.
Wasn't that alarming to you?
Well, no, it never occurred to me that was a problem. Because people don't really like to talk about it, so it doesn't come up very much. So we were healthier. We pooped more. The kids missed a lot less school. I had more energy. So all that stuff goes together.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, were you using honey or maple syrup or agave or none of that shit?
No. It all is doing the same thing. It's all
spiking?
fructose.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Well, that was my question, because a lot of people, they tend to go, okay, we're going to go with the all-natural shit, but it's still giving you that same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no such thing as a good sugar. And those are all, in fact, agave is actually worse because it has more fructose, than table sugar does. It has up to 80% fructose. Regular table sugar has only about 50. Yeah.
What's the worst shit to the least the least worst shit as far as the sugars go? Because
crystalline fructose. That's something that you'll find now is an ingredient. For example, in like goldfish crackers, I noticed that they hand out at school that it has crystalline fructose. That's like pure. That's 100% fructose. That's the bad part of sugar. When you have regular sugar, table sugar, it's only about 50% fructose. The other half is glucose, which is fine. You need glucose. That's feeding.
So you
got
to stay away from the fructose. All right. So
exactly.
the glucose and then the motherfucking corn syrup, then sugar. Is that how it goes? Is that where we're at now?
Yeah.
And then what? Honey, agave, honey, maple syrup, like that type of deal?
Yeah, I'd say agave is probably right underneath crystalline fructose, and then it comes down to just regular table sugar, and then below that, then you get to I think then you start getting into sugars that we used. We used alternative sugars that didn't contain fructose.
Like what?
So we used things like I had to go to the health food store to find it, but I used brown rice syrup and barley malt syrup. So those are all glucose. They're much less sweet, but they are sweeteners, and you can use those in baking or cooking.
I see here you were using mashed up bananas.
Yeah, we did that.
That sounds fucking gross.
Unsweetened applesauce.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Or sweet potatoes. You can mash sweet potatoes and use that.
I know this is gonna sound weird, but did you notice that your husband tasted different in the sack? Like, did it affect the way?
Oh man,
you guys tasted?
I don't know. I can't comment there.
Oh, come on.
You don't know? Cause I'm getting a lot of complaints down there, and I'm thinking like maybe if I cut out the sugar, it might help out things.
I think you could. I think you should consider it.
Eat a lot of banana. I like pineapple.
I do eat bananas, but it's tough. I gotta tell you, I feel like I'm addicted to sweets. Like I always have to have something sweet every fucking day. Like I love me them little gummy bears and the little gummy worms and little popsicles.
That's the thing about it. It is addictive. It's lighting up those same pleasure centers in your brain that light up when people use addictive drugs like cocaine and heroin. It's the same exact area of your brain. So it is addictive, and the more of it you have, the more you need, just like any addictive substance, to get that same experience of pleasure. So it goes up and up and up, the amount we need just for it to register.
All right, so so you've done this for how long? Have you been on this shit for?
Well, we did the year of no sugar for a calendar year. And then ever since then, we aren't as strict as we used to be. You know, like now we'll have sugar for a special occasion, you know, if it's a birthday or, you know, or some other, you know, special occasion, we'll have sugar. But I'm still very stubborn about I don't buy stuff that has sugar as an ingredient because I know it doesn't need to be there.
Yo, Eve, do you notice that when you do eat the sugar that you're fucking like spiking, like your energy spikes? Do you feel crazy when you do eat it or what?
Yes, and it doesn't, a lot of the time it doesn't taste good to me. It tastes way too sweet now. And it'll often give me a pounding headache, and I just feel terrible.
888-742-3345. 888-742-3345. If you have a question for Eve Schaub, she wrote, Year of No Sugar. It's just about eliminating sugar from your diet and just trying to eat a little bit better. It's hard. We got a lot of truck drivers and stuff out here, so it's hard for these cats to, you know, just be out on the road and eat healthy. Do you got any advice for anybody like that that's out here driving trucks or out there on the go? Like, what do you suggest that they eat when they're out and about?
Well, I think one of the things that I say to people that's the best thing you can do is to get away from drinking sugar, because that's one of the biggest sources that we're getting a lot of sugar from is from our sodas and our sports drinks and vitamin waters and bottled teas, you know, and the fruit juice, you know, all of that. And instead, you know, have just coffee or tea or water or sparkling water or, you know, but don't go with the flavored waters. Go with just regular, you know, sparkling water. No, you got to make sure there's no sugar in there. And the other thing is try to be eating simple. You know, stay away from stuff that people tell you is healthy, like a granola bar, which can have as much sugar in it as a candy bar. And instead have a cheese stick or see if they'll have a banana, you know, at the convenience store. Because you're starting to be able to find that more now, that you can find a piece of fruit. You can find
So they should, like, just work that banana in their mouth instead of going for like a granola bar.
It's better.
There you go.
What you had to ask, Sear?
I was going to ask her. There's also a lot of sugar in liquor, also.
Well, it's interesting, and it depends on what you're talking about. And like a lot of people ask me about wine, and I tell them that actually wine is pretty much okay because all of that fructose that used to be, you know, the grape juice, it gets fermented into alcohol. So now, you know, you're talking about a different poison, but one that we're more familiar with, you know, dealing with. You know, we understand that what alcohol does, so you know, you're not worrying about the fructose there.
So alcohol isn't the worst. So you were drinking during this shit?
I drank wine during this year. Yeah, I did. And I don't think anybody should have to give that up on account of fructose. They shouldn't worry about.
Is there a lot of sugar in cocaine? Should we give that up as well?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Tons. Yes.
What? Come on.
Let's go to Julie in Florida. Go ahead, Julie.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I was just curious about the financial impact of cutting out the sugar products, where the products that don't have sugar in them more expensive than the products that have sugar in them.
That's a really good question, and a lot of people ask me that. And I think it's interesting because that's the assumption, is that it's expensive to try and eat without added sugar in your food. But what I found was that most of the time, the products that have all that hidden sugar in there, you know, in the packages, boxes, and bags on the shelves, you know, they're actually more expensive. You know, buying Lunchables can be very expensive compared to just simply having the ingredients and making something. So, you know, then it gets down to a matter of time. Do people have time?
It's more work for no sugar. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair to say. And you know, but I do think it's definitely possible if people just do a little more looking and learn, okay, this is the product I can buy, you know, and sometimes it would be a difference of maybe 20 cents. Like I could buy this peanut butter that has sugar in it, or I could buy this other one that costs 20 cents more. And
Let's go to Marcus in Detroit. Go ahead, Marcus.
Yo, what up, though, Jude? I respect the show, man. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
6 Mile Green from the West Side.
Go ahead.
I'm out here in California. I moved from Atlanta, and when you in the South, you know, you got a big tummy. They say you're eating good. When you out west, they call you fat. So in the last 4 months, I done lost 30 pounds, and I heard you mention that you should stay away from sugar and eat fruit, but fruit has natural sugar in it because it's a natural resource. So, and you want to stay away from corn syrup because your body can't metabolize it, so it turns into fat. So, like, sugar not bad because it's a natural resource. Every time you eat fruit, it's going to have natural sugar in it. So it's like, it's not making sense what you're saying.
Well, no, Marcus, she's saying there's two different types of sugar. Eve, can you address that?
Well, I think it's confusing because some people think I'm talking about simple sugars, which are carbs, or they might think I'm talking about blood sugar, which, you know, is your blood glucose level. But what I'm talking about is sugar like the sweetener. And so, you know, you can't live without blood glucose. You know, you can't, and we're not talking about carbs per se. We're talking about sugar as a sweetener that, you know, most of the time it's about half fructose, and that's the bad part, and that's what you want to avoid.
How much weight did you lose? How much did your family lose weight? Is this a good way to cut down on your fat? How much weight did you lose, if any, doing this?
Well, you know, we're lucky because none of us was really needing. It wasn't a problem we had. We weren't overweight, so we weren't looking to lose weight. But the fellow who wrote the introduction to my book is an Australian, and he wrote a book about sugar in Australia, and he lost 90 pounds. And the only thing that he did was he cut out added sugar.
What if I eat sugar but then throw up when I'm
You know, I wouldn't recommend that. I don't know. Somehow that just seems like it. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for calling up and just explaining this alternative way of living to everybody. And best of luck to you. The book is Year of No Sugar. It's Eve Schaub. Year of No Sugar. You can get it on Amazon. It's in bookstores. It's all over the place. And Eve, thank you so much for calling up.
Thank you, Eve.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
All right.